Hello and welcome to Guitarist Magazine. We can be found on the web at www.guitarist.com. My name is Jason JROCK Houston, and I'm happy to be welcoming you to the show today, guitarist Dallas Dwight from the band LA Maybe. Now, right off the bat, being from Los Angeles myself, I got to ask you about the band's name because you guys are, from what I understand, from North Carolina. So let's talk about the band's name. Great name. I love it.
Yeah, sure. I heard, I was sitting in the O'Hare Airport in Chicago, and I heard someone behind me say, I don't remember exactly, but something to the effect of, she gave me the old LA Maybe.
Oh, wow.
And I immediately knew what he was saying, and I thought it was so funny. So we loved the concept, and we just made it the band name. I've heard a lot of people say they think we named it that because
of the music.
Maybe one day we'll be in LA, and that just seems kind of silly to me. So
well, yeah. Well, I thought like a lot of people, maybe not being from LA, maybe you always had that dream of, going to Hollywood, LA, hitting it big. Everyone kind of has that dream if you're an actor or a musician. Did you ever have that dream, or just kind of coincidental name?
Yeah, I mean, it's, we've all had that dream for sure, but it name itself, so.
Yeah, and so, as I mentioned, you're a guitar player, but do you sing as well, or how involved are you with the writing of the songs?
Most of the songs are written by me, or at least started by me, and then kind of everybody gets their 2 cents in there. But as far as the songs, as far as you're talking lyrics and chords and stuff, that pretty much all starts with me.
Oh, cool.
With few exceptions, and we're I kind of come up, or the way I like to say it is I come up with the seeds, and then I demo it out, and then show it to everybody, and we all kind of work on it from there. But it's a process that works for us. We've tried to all kind of get in the same room and write.
Yeah.
It just moves too slow, and it never yields the best results. So.
Well, that's interesting.
This way for now.
Yeah, that's interesting. Now, I was curious, like when you first were getting when you first got an interest in playing music, did you start out on the guitar and kind of get into singing kind of by like, well, I don't really want anybody else singing my songs, or talk a little bit about that process?
Yeah, well, as far as starting, I started out on guitar. It's always been kind of my main thing, but I always had that original bug and that original bone. I mean, when I would learn, Guns N' Roses song, let's say.
Yeah.
And when it came time for the solo, I didn't want anything to do with the actual real solo in the song. I just, in my head, I heard solo, and I was like, all right, let me do my solo,
So you're more.
I always had that bone in my body of wanting to kind of do my own thing and create my own stuff, and not just, be a cover band or tribute band or anything like that. I wanted to kind of put my own statement out into the world, and it's a much more challenging path. It's a much more rewarding path.
Yeah.
I think, so.
Because I mean, if you were to say, be singing somebody else's songs that they wrote, I mean, you could probably do a great job. I mean, because you're a good singer. But
sure, we do tons of covers too. That's we have a cover band that we go out and make a little money with. There's nothing against that at all.
No.
But when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, the thing that we're doing is we're doing our own stuff. We're doing our own music, and we're trying to put a mark on the world.
I think when you write and record your own music, you can do it more from the heart. There's more of a feeling. It's more of an emotion. I mean, a good example of that is, probably like a lot of us when we're growing up and we're listening to those classic Who records, you have no idea that Roger Daltrey is kind of he's great at what he does. Don't get me wrong, but he's a voice where you kind of realize, wait a minute, it's the guitar player Pete Townsend. He's the one that wrote all those hit songs. But it's that collaboration.
The same with Alice in Chains as well.
Yeah.
Lane, gets a lot of credit.
Yeah.
He wrote one song for the band, and that was Angry Chair.
I mean,
Jerry does all the heavy lifting and all the writing and stuff, and Lane's the voice. And I love that partnership because writing has always kind of been where my passion is. I don't consider myself the best guitar player or the best anything, but writing is where I try to spend a lot of my time. So
it's that collaboration, and I think too, when you write your own songs, there's more of a heartfeltness to the songs. And it's interesting you bring up Alice in Chains, another one of my favorite bands. Of all the grunge bands, I always liked them the best because they kind of have a Sabbathy vibe. There's more of an metal element to kind of what they do.
Same, definitely. They've always been my favorite.
Jerry,
there was a interview I saw where Tony Iommi called, I think it was Tony Iommi himself called Jerry the Riff King, and they were filming Jerry as he got that news, and he was just, all bashful and stuff.
I mean, from a riff master himself, that's the ultimate compliment. And the thing, that's part of the reason I think Alice in Chains has been able to carry on without Lane Staley, because I mean, Jerry, like you said, the main guy, his vocals are just as important to the sound of Alice in Chains as Lane's were. And I mean, their vocals kind of mesh so well together, and it's just kind of an interesting concept. But getting back to your band, the LA Maybe, like listening to some of the songs, I'd say you guys kind of have a Tesla thing going for yourself, in the sense that just like Tesla can do a great rockin' song like Modern Day Cowboy, they can also do something like Love Song, which is more of a pop tune. I was listening to some of these songs you guys do, and no two songs sound exactly alike, and I think that is why a lot of people are digging your band.
Yeah, the phrase I like to say is we want to be familiar enough to kind of reel you in, and unique enough to keep you there, right? So if you're too familiar, people are checking you out. They're like, oh, I know this sounds like X, Y, and Z, and then they realize, oh, okay, it's just X, Y, and Z. I'll go listen to the real thing, and they keep walking. I mean, if you're too unique, people don't even stop in, because they're just like, what in the hell is that? This is not my thing, you know what I mean? So every so often something wildly unique catches people, but there, for every one of those unique things that catches people, there's 100 million that are just like, what is this?
I mean, so just to kind of
walk that balance beam in between, familiarity and uniqueness.
Kind of to prep myself for an interview today, I picked like 5 songs to kind of that I hadn't heard before from you guys, to kind of just get an idea, and like all 5 songs kind of I would say is a different side of the band. It's a little something for everybody. I mean, let's talk about some of the songs that I listen to. The Long Road, now there's a single of that, acoustic version of that, and a lyric video. To me, it kind of has elements of something like the Eagles, and yet there's kind of a freshness to it, like something like so original. Like, you guys kind of have your own stamp on this stuff.
Eagles, yeah, I love that. That's awesome. I've never heard that before, but that's, we're obviously huge Eagles fan. We love, so all 5 of us in the band sing, so we love to kind of impromptu. We'll bust into Seven Bridges Road, on the bus or something, and it's always a good time.
And now, like, doing an acoustic version of one of your songs, I mean, that's kind of a cool way to kind of break the song down, and, like you're saying, being a band that loves melodies, I mean, I can hear that in your music. I mean, you guys can all maybe...
And with the Long Road in particular, we did something different where we released the acoustic version first.
Oh,
so the full version of that song is not out and will not be out until later this year. So we wanted to kind of tease it and say, here's what's coming. This is the stripped down version. Kind of use your imagination as to what this could be, and then we'll kind of reveal it later.
Yeah, and like I said, it's another cool thing that bands have been doing over the last couple of years is these lyric videos. You guys got a great lyric video for that Long Road acoustic version, and what I love about it is, I mean, it's obvious what a lyric video is. You put the words to your song up on the screen. I think what makes it cool is people kind of maybe pay more attention to the words than they would otherwise, maybe to just a regular video.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it's kind of a lyric video is a little bit easier and cheaper to make, so it's a nice way to kind of bridge the gap when you can't do a full video, or like for instance for us, it was our attention is just elsewhere right now, so we were kind of using the deluxe edition to kind of bridge the gap, give the fans something fresh but familiar, and then move on to the new stuff, which is coming, starting November 1st with our new single Down to Fight.
Oh wow, and now another song I listened to, Mr. Danger, again kind of the total polar opposite of what you did on the Long Road. To me, it's kind of a great hard rockin' tune. It's got a bit of an AC/DC vibe. Were you all influenced by AC/DC growing up?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, the big ones. For me, Guns N' Roses was definitely my main one. But I loved AC/DC as much as the next person. Wow.
And just kind of that one's got a great vibe, a great rockin' vibe to it. When I'm Gone. I don't know if I would call it. I don't know if you want to call it a ballad, but it's kind of a more melodic tune. It's to me, I'd say it's an epic song. That's how I describe it. It's well written. Great. You were talking about melody. That song's got great melody to it.
Yeah, for sure, and that one definitely comes from a real place for us as far as sentimental and emotional value. I wrote that song for my friend Daniel Kyer, who actually committed suicide in 2015. So that's kind of written for him, and we wanted the video to be as big and crazy and epic as we possibly could to kind of call attention to that. And if you watch the video carefully, you'll notice for the solo I'm playing a blue Telecaster, which if you pay attention to our music is very weird for me. I'm usually playing a Les Paul.
Oh, wow.
But the reason I pulled out that Tele out of the vault was because Daniel owned that Tele. That was his guitar.
Oh, wow.
So I pulled that out for the solo, and it ended up raining, just serendipitously, just pouring rain. And we were like, this is just the perfect, storm, no pun intended, of kind of music video goodness. So we kind of put it all together, and it just got drenched out there that day. And I was cleaning out my car for a month after, I think. But it was, it ended up just really coming together nicely, and we're really proud of that moment.
I mean, not to get too personal, but like, as far as your friend committing suicide, like, how big of a surprise was it when you got the news? I mean, did you have any idea he was struggling with depression or going through anything, or was it a total?
Yeah, not to that degree, no.
Yeah.
And we had, we're really close friends, so it was definitely a shock for sure.
That's kind of a sad thing when you have to go through something like that. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's a friend or a loved one.
Oh yeah, and too many people go through similar things. It's not an uncommon or not as uncommon as you might think. So it came out in the form of the song, and to this day we have people come up to us and say, that song helped me, or I definitely feel this song the most, or things like that. Where because it comes from such a real place, people pick up on that authenticity and they feel the same kind of things. Yeah,
it's interesting because not having known that about the song before I talked to you today, I mean. It's interesting because I could tell listening to the song, this must have, this guy must have gone through something, because I really, it was a really emotional song. I had no idea what it was about, but knowing that, it makes the song, I think, that much more special. And what do you think your friend would think of the fact that you took the time to write this song about him? Do you think he would
knowing Daniel, he probably would have been like, it's all right, I would have done this, I would have done that.
Yeah. So I take it he was a musician himself.
Oh, Daniel was one of the most talented people I've ever met in my life. Yeah, there are a few people who come up to me every so often and say, oh, you're talented, and I always take issue with that because I've known talented people and I've sat next to them, and Daniel was one of the most talented, and I know I'm nothing like that. So it's weird, talent to me is kind of like you have this gift, this thing that can't be quantified. For me, it was just hard work. I just sat in the room for 10 hours a day playing guitar. So like, of course, if you did the same, you'd also be able to play, a few licks. But his talent is just like everything came so easy to Daniel, and it was just he was always miles ahead of me, even though I never saw him practice once. That was the most frustrating thing ever. But yeah, so he was a true talent, and I had to kind of just bust ass just to keep up, So he was definitely probably one of the biggest influences on my playing and just life as a musician and guitar.
And again, Dallas, if you don't mind me getting a little more personal about this story, because I think it's kind of interesting. The fact that you ended up with his guitar, did one of his family members give that to you? Because I think that's kind of, that's the ultimate. He
gave it to me. I have two of his guitars that he gave to me.
Wow.
One of them he gave me to work on, and then he died before I could give it back to him. And the other one I had, it was his, and he sold it to a mutual friend, and then I bought it from the mutual friend.
Interesting.
And, that was all before he died. So I had both of them, when he was still alive.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. And do you ever feel like when you're playing the guitar, like maybe he's watching over you, or he's kind of he's around, his spirit's there?
Yeah, definitely. They definitely have some vibes to them, for sure. I'm definitely, those two guitars are different, obviously, but for most of my guitars, I'm not usually too sentimental about my instruments.
Yeah, I understand.
I think they're I equate it to like a carpenter with his hammer. He's not precious with his hammer and delicately putting in the keys out there building stuff. And that's how I am with my gear as well. It definitely gets beat up and dinged and broken, and all sorts of crazy stuff happens to it, and that's because they get used. So,
oh, sure.
I'm definitely not a hang it up on the wall and look at it kind of guy.
Yeah.
So. And
it's interesting that you can see the talent that was there in your friend that you lost, but that you don't see the talent that you have. I mean, even just listening to your music myself, I'm thinking to myself, wow, this band's a pretty talented band. I mean, the whole band is kind of on fire, in these songs, and it's kind of interesting that a guy that's got your talent, obviously, hard work is part of the combination, because you could have somebody who's super talented, but they don't have a work ethic, they don't have the dedication to go along with it. It makes it that much harder to get anywhere,
Yeah, the talented thing is the talent versus hard work thing is something I think about all the time, and I have a lot of debates with people because I don't think talent exists as much as people think it does.
Yeah.
I think there is something out there as far as talent. I think it's much rarer than people think.
Yeah.
Just because, you know, I've lived my life. I know, you know, where I started and where I am and how I got there. And it definitely it wasn't just beamed down from the heavens to me. I wish it was, but it would have been a lot faster. But it was just pure grit for me. Where other people like not a ton of people, but Daniel in particular, I saw him just kind of, it was beamed down, and it was just like, you can't explain it, and that's talent.
Yeah.
But just seeing somebody who's good at something, you know, and then someone will say, "Oh, they're so talented." It's like, well, you know, maybe, I don't know, probably not. Most of us are not talented.
Usually
in the ways that we think we are, you know.
Usually, if you get even a chance, you know, like that, to record an album, put it out. I mean, it takes a little bit of talent, a little bit of maybe luck, a little bit of being at the right place at the right time.
Definitely a lot of elements go into that creative stew for sure.
I mean,
and with our album and all of our stuff, we are completely DIY. We recorded the album ourselves. We didn't step foot in the studio. We produced, you know, everything ourselves, wrote everything ourselves. I did the album art, the logo, the merch, like the website. It's all us. We don't go to anyone else for anything. And we like it that way for now. It's a lot of work, but
it's a lot of work and a lot of your money. But the cool thing about that to me is, I mean, because let's be honest, not a truckload of bands have record deals anymore, and I think the great thing about kind of being an independent band and doing what you guys do is that if a band does kind of you know, have a little bit of a hit, or fans start to kind of react to what you do, it all goes back into the band, or you know, the band gets the money as opposed to maybe somebody at a record label or the manager or somebody else involved getting a bigger piece of the pie than what the band actually gets. So that's the cool thing about it, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we keep everything in-house as much as we can, and we've been approached by record labels and stuff, and we just haven't found a deal that we feel fits what we want right now. And I would actually amend your statement to say that, you know, not a lot of bands have record deals, to not a lot of bands really want record deals right now.
It's a totally different world.
It's just such a different industry than it was. And with the internet and Spotify and all these things, it's like you don't need them anymore.
I mean, it's interesting.
If you have a good product, you will get noticed. That's just how it is.
And I don't know how you are, Dallas, but like when I was growing up, one of the big things in the music industry obviously was MTV was a major player back in the day. Whereas it got to the point where MTV doesn't even exist. I mean, it's become more of a television network where they don't even play music. It's more of a reality TV network. So that just goes to show you how different the world is. And yet bands are still putting out great music videos like what you guys do, but you don't need MTV like you did back in the day. You can just put it up on your YouTube channel. People can go to, you know, LA Maybe's YouTube channel and see everything the band has to offer. And I think that's kind of a cool aspect of the music industry. You don't need MTV.
We've seen the huge reduction of power for gatekeepers.
Yeah.
And that's really important, I think, because you have all these gatekeepers that kind of decide what
gets out there and what doesn't.
Right? They decide what you're going to like next year. And as a free person, I would kind of resent that. Like, well, what if I want to decide what I like? You know?
Yeah.
And that's kind of where we are now.
Like,
you know, you have to do some work. You have to go find it, but it is out there for you. You know, and we're just one of many bands.
And you're just one of many bands that's even getting a little bit of a notice because your music has touched some people. Whereas before, if they had those gatekeepers like they did back in the day, nobody may even be hearing about the LA maybe. So that's what I dig about kind of the way it is now. I mean, even back in the day, you know, people were trying to get on things like Headbangers Ball, and the record companies would really kind of, you know, try to get their bands on like MTV and do things to get their bands on the radio, and there's not as much of that going on. But I just think it's better because the bands can kind of you can kind of have more control over how you promote your music and how it gets out there, you know.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And now another one of your songs I was checking out that I really dug. This is kind of a kick-ass rock tune. It has a little bit of an AC/DC vibe to me. Sucker Punch. It's kind of a fun little rock song. I dug that.
Yeah, for sure. That's a super fun one. We, you know, wanted to do something a little faster, a little heavier, and we had a lot of fun writing that one. It kind of starts someplace and ends someplace different. You know, it kind of takes you through the whole gamut of rock.
Yeah.
And it's definitely one of our favorites for sure.
And then one to me that's a little more radio friendly, a little more of a pop song here is "Oh Sugar." It's nice.
Yeah, that's my favorite of the group for sure.
It's funny. It's funny you say that, because out of all these songs, I dug each and every one for different reasons. But I was left feeling last night. That's of all these songs I've listened to so far, that's my favorite song so far. And I think maybe just because it's got a great little hook in it. I don't know what it is, but it's a great song.
Yeah, man. I'm glad to hear you say that. It's just I think it ends up being just really catchy.
Yeah, and I think that's. I think a lot of these songs you could maybe have a radio hit, but that's, I think, the obvious one right there.
Yeah, we all those vocals at the end, like I said, all five of us sing, so all those vocals at the end are just us standing around a microphone. Yeah, all as a group, like the old days. We didn't do a lot of vocal stacks and stuff like you would see now. We do some of that too, but for that particular part, we wanted that gang sound where there's just one mic, we're all standing around it, yeah, all that stuff. So it was really fun to do that, and we were really happy with how it came out.
Now, again, people having no idea you guys are from North Carolina. They might listen to some of this stuff and think, these guys are called the LA Maybe, they must be from Los Angeles. But you guys are quite a ways away from Los Angeles. So my next question is, what is the music scene like there in North Carolina? I mean, is there much of a rock or hard rock scene there?
Yeah, there's definitely some bands from around our area. If you spread out, maybe 3 hours any given direction, there's definitely some bands. We don't spend too much time here doing that, so it's kind of hard to say. We just have our heads down doing our own thing, so it's kind of hard to say, how the scene is, at least for me personally, because I'm usually stuck in the studio.
On that front,
right now I'm editing videos for us. There's all kinds of stuff that I'm doing that I don't really get a chance to get out there. So if it doesn't come across, my socials, or it's not recommended to me by a friend, I usually miss it.
I guess what I'm asking, so do you guys play a lot of shows in your local area?
We do, but they tend to be cover shows, and we'll sprinkle some originals in. But cool. Just cover shows because we're trying to just fatten that bank account, because we're going back to Europe. We have all this other stuff going on, so we need to keep that money rolling in, and it doesn't roll in from hole in the wall rock club original shows where 6 bands are on the bill. So we have to and those are really fun. But we're kind of in a different place right now. We're different focus, different goals, so we're trying to focus on that. And
the reason I was asking what the scene is like there is because I listening to these 5 tunes I listened to prep for the interview today, I think very much like a band like maybe Tesla or Van Halen or Poison. You could go out with a lot of different types of bands. I mean, could you have some like The Long Road? You could maybe get with a band, that's a little more mellow, or you could go out with a lot of different hard rock bands, or even a metal band, I would think. Is that what you're kind of finding?
Yeah, exactly, for sure.
And then it probably makes it easier, you guys going out and doing covers. What is that like? Because I know a lot of people do that, and that's a good way to get a crowd, because you go see a band that you've never heard of for the first time, and they do like a great version of Dr. Feelgood or something by Motley Crue, and half the crowd knows that song, so they're getting off on it, and then you throw in a couple original tunes, and they're like, oh, what the hell is that?
Yeah, our we call it the variety band.
Yeah.
And it really is a variety. I mean, we'll do Bruno Mars, Ed Sheeran, Guns N' Roses, AC/DC. We kind of run the gamut there as well. And we've been doing it for a while, and it really just makes us a better band. So what we do is we'll go play 3-4 hour shows, 80% covers if not more, and we'll win people over because we probably play one of their favorite songs, whether it's Uptown Funk or whether it's Welcome to the Jungle. And they come up after, and we have our merch booth set up. So we're kind of capturing fans by playing songs they know, and then getting them into our world, and then converting them into our fans. So it kind of works that way.
Yeah, I dig that.
It sharpens us as a band. It makes us a better instrument for musical destruction.
It keeps your chops up. And here's the thing. And here's the thing with that. One thing I've always enjoyed about seeing cover bands, like you said, even if it's a band you're seeing for the first time, they're playing songs that you've probably heard before on the radio, songs that the audience is aware of, and that's also a great way to kind of show people, hey, we can do this, we can do this, we can do that. And I guess before you wrap up the interview today, Dallas, you had mentioned already about the fact that you guys are getting ready to go do a tour of Europe. Talk about when does the European tour kick off, and how did you guys get that opportunity?
We'll be there most of December, so yeah, I'd encourage everyone to go to lamaybe.com/UK tour, and we will be there, most of December, like I said. So the way it came about, we toured there in May, so, we know all the people there now, so it was a little bit easier this time. But the first one came about because a promoter over there just found our album and really liked it, so he reached out and said, hey, I want to put you on my festival. Can we make that happen? So, of course, we just said yes, and then figured it out. So
yeah, I mean,
we made the tour happen, and now we're doing a bigger, more expansive December running.
I mean, I think that speaks volumes right there. I mean, you guys are kind of a relatively new band, I guess, and you've been doing your local shows like a lot of bands do, and then the fact that you even, I mean, a lot of bands that are just starting out, haven't been outside of their local area. You guys are, for the second time going to Europe. I mean, outside of your homeland. I mean, that's a major accomplishment right there.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's kind of just how we are. We're very DIY and aggressively independent right now, and that's just how
wow.
how we've been going on.
So you guys have one album to date, is that correct?
The one, Dirty Damn Trick's our first album, and then we have a deluxe version of that. So technically two, but
okay, same album.
Nearly the same album twice.
And on the deluxe version, what are we getting extra? Like extra songs or?
Yeah, there's 6 extra tracks, so 2 demos, 4 acoustic versions, including that brand new one, The Long Road.
And how have people been responding to that? Because I'm one of those old school fans. I still love to have physical CDs. I know a lot of bands aren't even doing that anymore. A lot of bands are just living off their catalog of music. So I think it's a cool thing to still have a band putting out new music. And anytime, even if it's an album I had, I think, wow, I'm getting 6 new tracks and what was on here before. So that's cool.
Yeah, exactly. So we kind of did that to kind of bridge the gap until our new stuff comes out later this year and on into next year. So we're trying to focus on releasing music a little more quickly and a little more consistently over time, every 4 to 6 weeks, instead of every year and a half. So, we'll see how it goes, but that's the plan right now, and we'll see how it takes us into the next year.
And so people, can they get physical CDs, or is it just available digitally?
Sure, yeah. The hub for everything LA Maybe is lamaybe.com. You can go there for tour dates, tour. We have our own podcast. We have all sorts of stuff going on, so that's kind of the hub. Anything you could ever want is there. And yeah, we have CDs, vinyl, all signed CDs,
cool.
all kinds of stuff.
And that's cool. You have a podcast. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's called Your New Favorite Band. We started it this year. We built a podcast studio for ourselves, and with our own 2 hands. And Chris and I, the other guitar player, we do a show every week. We cover new bands, talk about our band, talk about experiences on the road, all kinds of stuff. So it's a goofy, fun time. For sure.
What I dig about that is, as great as it would be to have a podcast just talking, updating your fans on your own band and what's going on. I dig the fact that you still talk about your band, but you give other bands an opportunity to kind of be talked about on there. But that's cool.
Yeah, of course. We called it Your New Favorite Band, kind of the dual meaning. Of course, we want to be your new favorite band, but we also have a lot of new favorite bands ourselves. So
and where can people,
want to, showcase those guys, talk about those guys, and get them on the show. So we have a really good time.
Where can people check that out?
Just go to lamaybe.com, and you can go to the podcast there, or wherever you listen to podcasts, just search Your New Favorite Band, or the LA Maybe, either one, pop right up.
And are you guys on Facebook and that?
Yep, everywhere. Just search the LA Maybe. If you can't find us, make sure you put the dots between the L and the A.
Okay, and I guess the last thing to kind of cover before we wrap up the interview for today, Dallas, is you're also mentioning that you're going to drop a new single in the next coming weeks. You want to let people know about that and when they can expect to hear it?
Yeah, November 1st, Down to Fight, our brand new single comes out, and we're super excited about it. It'll be available everywhere, so just make sure you keep your eye on our socials and stuff like that.
And then you're telling me that's going to come off, the next album, I guess, that you guys are currently working on. And a cool thing you mentioned to me was that the plan with that is to release like a video, like every song is a single, which I think is a cool concept. The only other band I know that ever did that was Metallica. When they put out their last studio album, the day it was released, they released like a different video every hour until every video was out there, and I think that is a cool idea.
Yeah, you'll definitely see more artists do that too, because it's just kind of
the way to go.
How the music industry works now. You need to release content more often. So it's just part of the game now, for sure.
Well, Dallas, I'd like to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk to me, and I really enjoyed getting to know you. So, like I said, I'll continue to follow you guys, and next time you have a new single, we'll definitely do a follow-up interview. Take care, my friend.
Yeah, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Okay, and the interview
Chaotic Riffs Magazine.